I'd like to take care of a couple of housekeeping items. If you have a cell phone with you, if you would please silence it at this time, we'd appreciate that. And then if you would like to address the trustees at any time during the meeting, if you would go outside and sign the appropriate form. When that item comes up on the agenda, we will call on you. There will also be an opportunity to speak at the end of the trustees meeting for general comments. So with that being said, let's call to order the October 24th, 2019 meeting of the Oklahoma City Airport Trust. The first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the September 26th, 2019 Oklahoma City Airport Trust meeting. We have a motion to approve. In a second, any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes, and it is approved. Next up, Director's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. I do have a comment related to enhancement of air service this morning. Recently, United Airlines announced that beginning October 27th on their route from Will Rogers World Airport to Chicago O'Hare, they're going to introduce a new aircraft in their fleet. It's the regional jet Bombardier CRJ 550. It's a 50-seat regional jet, and what is different from this jet from the typical regional jets that we've all become accustomed to over the years, if you remember those jets, they were very small airframes. There was one seating row on one side and two on the other, and there was no overhead storage bin space for carry-ons. When you got to the end of the jet bridge, you typically had to check your bag with the agent, and you had to wait for your bag when you arrived at your destination. This is a larger airframe aircraft, and so it does have overhead bin space, so that's good news. The other good benefit is it has truly first-class seating for the first time, and also those who are fortunate to be in first class will be able to have on-demand refreshment center at their disposal. It also has more leg room for every seat on the aircraft, where the older version of the regional jet, 50-seat regional jets did not have that. And of course, it has the United Wi-Fi. So Oklahoma City is one of the first cities in the nation to have that service rolled out, so we're fortunate for that.
Thank you, sir.
That's all.
Next up then is Will Rogers World Airport.
Under Will Rogers, we're requesting approval for item A, which is the acceptance of the completed project for our garage wayfinding project with Diversified Construction of Oklahoma. Item B is approve amendment number 1 to the contract with Crossland Heavy Contractors Incorporated for the rehabilitation of our terminal access roadway phase 1 project. It's an increase of $40,167.30, and also approving change order number 1, an increase of $32,200. Item C is approve amendment number 2 to the contract with Kimley Horn and Associates for the West Terminal Multi-Use Parking Lot project. It's an increase in an amount not to exceed $32,020. This is for the design of our new Lot 4 surface parking lot. Item D is approve amendment number 2 to the contract with CGC LLC for the parking lot number 1 rehabilitation project. That project is complete, and we have a decrease in quantity items for the amendment of $41,429.15. We do have a change order increase number 2 of $5,732.40. Item E is approve change order number 1 to the contract with Metropolitan AC Service Company for the Thomas P. Stafford Building Boiler Replacement Project at Mike Monroney Aeronautical Center. It's an increase of $39,270.73. F is change order number 1 to the contract with Alba Roofing. This is for the building at 5300 South Portland Avenue. It's a roof replacement project. It's an increase of $7,228.58. We're adding 22 calendar days. Item G is change order number 7 to the contract with Timberlake Construction for the terminal renovation and expansion project, an increase of $51,791.77. Item H is approving and ratify the issuance of Addendum 1 for the South Maintenance Facility Roof Replacement Project. Received the recommendation regarding the bids opened on September 25th and awarding the contract to Alba Roofing Company for $373,300, approving contract and bonds. Item I is approve and ratify the issuance of Addendas 1 and 2 for the new cell phone waiting lot project. Received the recommendation regarding the bids opened September 25th and awarding the contract to RDNJ LLC, doing business as ATEC Paving, $786,725.55 is the amount of the award of the contract, approving contract and bonds. And item J is approve and ratify the issuance of addendas 1, 2, and 3 for the reconstruction of Station 2, also the replacement of moving walkways number 18 and 25. Received the recommendation regarding the bids opened on September 25th and awarding the contract to Wind Construction Company, $5,656,000. It's also inclusive of the base bid and the allowances 1 through 3, approving contract and bonds. Item K, received the Consultant Review Committee report on the terminal building roof repairs and replacement project, and we're asking authorization to negotiate an agreement with Benham Design, LLC. Item L is received the Consultant Review Committee report for the evaluation of our parking garages and pedestrian tunnel to evaluate repair strategies going forward, authorize negotiation of an agreement with Reeves Associates Incorporated. Item M, authorization of the request for bids for window cleaning services at Will Rogers, and authorize the advertisement of bids to be opened on November 20th, 2019. And item N is to approve the request for proposals to be advertised for the airport food service and retail concession program. The proposals are to be opened on January 8th, 2020, and I'd like to pause at this portion of Will Rogers to ask Ann Ferragudo to come forward. We have a presentation this morning on this RFP. Ann is the principal of Air Projects Incorporated. She has extensive experience over the last 30 years working with 70 airports over the nation, both, small, medium, and large hub airports. She's also worked internationally as well, and we were very fortunate to have her as a consultant to hold our hands on this project, and she will be doing so going forward as well. She has a short presentation this morning on what the RFP is consisting of and what it will look like and our plans to go forward. Ann, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Appreciate the opportunity to discuss the new concession program and the planning effort that's been underway since about April of this year. So we began the program began the project working with airport staff by analyzing the existing concession program and identifying its strengths and weaknesses and benchmarking its performance against other airports, similar airports in the country, to identify opportunities for growth. We also looked at the local market, both from a demographic perspective as well as a food service and retail perspective. We use that information to project consumer demand for concessions moving forward in the terminal, especially in light of your expansion project. And using that information, we also worked with airport management to develop a concession management approach and leasing strategy moving forward. We believe there are certainly opportunities for the concession program to enhance customer service, improve the concession mix, introduce competition in both food service and retail, and thereby increase sales and revenue. The following goals for the new program were established based on input from airport management. The new program will create a positive customer experience that is reflective of the modern Oklahoma City. It will offer an optimum variety of local and national brands to enhance the overall concession mix. I mean, we have certainly found over the years that airports that have a mix of local, regional, national brands tend to perform better. The program should optimize or maximize the financial return, encourage local, small, and disadvantaged participation in a variety of ways. It was also important to limit the capital investment by the trust and limit staffing requirements on the part of airport management. And there's a goal to maintain flexibility in the program so that moving forward, as the airport expands further, you have the flexibility to re-demise the concessions and maximize your real estate by upgrading the infrastructure. Based on the results of the plan moving forward, The solicitation and management strategy was developed to include 2 agreements, 2 concession agreements, both with food and retail concessions. And this will promote competition and expand the brand options. The advantages of this proposed strategy are that competition should improve customer service, staffing, and sales. There will be increased access to brands because you'll have more than one entity operating the concessions. There will be multiple locations in each package, so that will enable participation by disadvantaged and small companies. And there will be opportunities for local businesses to participate in the new program through a variety of ways, which could include a franchise, a license, a sublease, or to be a supplier for products or services. We have a few slides showing the key concepts and some examples of those concepts. We are not endorsing in any way the concepts or the brands that you see on these slides. They are merely examples of the types of concepts that we're targeting in the program moving forward. So there will be 2 casual dining restaurants. These would be full-service restaurants with a bar. At least one would have an all-day breakfast, which we found was very important in Oklahoma City. There's a huge breakfast market here, and you have a big morning peak, so that will be important. In addition to the restaurants, there will be 2 bars with food, enhancing the options for passengers to have a quick bite to eat and a drink before their flight. The food court will be renovated, providing larger units to accommodate national and local brands, such as a national brand burger, a national brand chicken, and an ethnic concept that could be local or national, such as Asian or Mexican. Sorry, can you go back one? Sorry. Additional coffee locations are also being added, again, because you do have a strong morning peak. There will be a new coffee cafe pre-security and 2 gourmet coffee locations post-security. The 2 post-security coffee units will be co-located with a newsstand, one with a newsstand and one with a bookstore. There will also be 2 additional newsstands, one pre-security and one post-security. We will continue to include the tech retail, which is an important specialty retail type to support traveler needs. And the program includes a true gift shop that will have something for everybody, as well as high-quality Oklahoma gifts and made-in-Oklahoma products. Candy will help round out the specialty retail program, providing both treats and gifts. And there will be a personal care specialty retail featuring bath and body products, toiletries, cosmetics, again targeting both the traveler on the go as well as employees and crew members. So all of these units will be put into 2 concession packages. The packages are quite similar purposefully, and the first package has 8 food service and retail units, just under 14,000 square feet of concessions. We expect an average capital investment of between $500 and $600 per square foot, and this will be a 10-year lease term. The second package has 9 food service and retail units. It's just under 15,000 square feet. Similar capital investment expected, and again, a 10-year lease term. The target program completion is January 2022. This target date does consider the existing leases at the airport and phasing in the new program to ensure a consistent level of service for the passengers throughout the transition process. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
One question as we're looking at this last slide, can a vendor bid on both package 1 and package 2?
They can. The intent is to award 2 packages, but the trust does reserve the right to award them both to one company, but the intent certainly is to introduce competition and have 2 successful proposers.
Right, and so I thought that was an interesting concept in that, competition perhaps elevates the quality of the product being presented to the trust.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, though, are 8 or 9 units sufficient on a standalone basis to attract the kind of attention that, say, larger airports may attract?
These packages are a good size compared to other packages that, we've used at other airports. In some cases, these are twice the size of those. So I do think they are large enough, and we have tested the feasibility for these packages, looking at all of their potential expenses, their capital investments, staffing, running it out over a 10-year period, and believe that they will have the opportunity to, have a good return on their investment.
Thank you.
And Mark, currently we've got one vendor that does retail and one vendor that does food.
That's correct.
So
And
this
historically, that's the way we've operated. This is definitely a change, and this is the reason why we hired a consultant to help us evaluate our program. And what's different now than what has been in past years is most of the vendors who were traditionally doing just food and beverage or just retail, they are now doing both. And so they ask periodically, and we've had sort of requests over the years to sort of introduce the retail portion a little bit into the food and beverage and vice versa. So that's a trend that has been out there for several years, and now we're just catching up because our agreements just happen to be coming due. Our food and beverage expires and contract expires in April of next year, and the retail expires in May of 2021. That's why you see the target date of 2022. But we feel it's important to go out with 2 vendors, both doing food and beverage and retail, and I think the big points are that we feel now that it's a great time to enhance the competition, and not that our existing vendors have done a poor job. They've done a very good job, but we feel like there's opportunity for enhancement of the services and the brands that we have here and the concepts that we can provide at Will
So do
Rogers.
we need to extend the food contract?
Possibly will depend. There's one thing that we've determined in the food court that after the contract expires, we will need to do some back-of-house improvements to the food court. That typically would not be done by the concessionaire or when they have to build out the new concepts. And so this is something that we're analyzing now with our on-call A&E. And I'll bring back a plan for that to you later on.
In the data that's been presented, maybe I missed it, I didn't see a whole lot of emphasis on what does the traveling public think we should have. Is that something that should be looked at, or is it not looked at in evaluations like this?
No, you're right. We did look at the local market to see, what was happening locally. And really, it's a very exciting time, I think, in Oklahoma City, in the area, because there's a really good kind of foodie scene. The food scene in the restaurants are really making some, coming up with some great concepts here. There seems to be a very entrepreneurial nature to the local market. So we were really excited about that. And then we have data from airports all over the country that we look at to see, what's doing well, what's not, and trying to couple that with your demographics, looking at flight destinations, flight times, are they long haul, short haul, and what the passengers may need, and also using your existing program as a baseline to identify kind of what's working, what's not working moving forward. So we did look at the market and, the passenger wants and needs, for sure.
Nothing else? Thank you, Ann. Appreciate
Okay,
it. And we'll
thank you.
look forward to working with you as we go through this process. Moving on with the agenda for Will Rogers, item O is to adopt a resolution with the trust and the City of Oklahoma City. This is ratifying the mayor and the chairman's signature for the approval of 2019 Airport Improvement Grant Agreement to reconstruct the terminal apron, and also ratifying the local matching funds necessary for the project. That particular grant was $3,467,708. Item P is also a joint resolution between the trust and the City of Oklahoma City. We're ratifying the mayor and chairman's signature for a separate grant with the FAA. This is for $1,842,903 to rehabilitate the Terminal Access Roadway Phase 1 project, ratifying the local match necessary. Item Q is adopt the resolution of the Airport Trust and the City of Oklahoma City expressing the intent to issue and also granting the preliminary approval of the issuance by the trust of revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $45 million to be on a taxable basis in one or more series for the purpose of refunding the outstanding amount of the Trust Junior Lien Taxable 31 series, which financed the consolidated rental car facility at Will Rogers. And I'd like Angela Pierce, who is the Assistant Finance Director for the city, who we have been working with on this project, to come forward. She's also the debt coordinator for the City of Oklahoma City and also for the various trusts. Angela, thank you. And do you have a few comments you'd like to make for this?
I do, yes. Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having me. Today we're here to seek your approval on the intent resolution. We'd like to issue refunding bonds, which is similar to refinancing. You could think of it as refinancing your mortgage on your home. Due to favorable market conditions, we expect sizable savings on this issue. This is refunding your 2013 rental car facility. We already have the financing team in place and ready to go. Everyone is ready to work for you to generate these savings. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Angela, can you anticipate the savings on this for us, at least under the market conditions that we have today?
It's been estimated at 20 to 30% of the original issue, which would be between 8 and 9 million. Of course, that's all variable depending on the market conditions the day we go out to sell, but we expect to hit right around that mark.
Thank you very much. Pretty substantial. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Item R is to adopt a resolution between the Airport Trust authorizing repairs to a building at 5300 South Portland Avenue with Cherokee Painting. It's an annual maintenance contract we have with Cherokee in the amount of $73,434.76. And last, for Will Rogers, is item S to have a resolution declaring some equipment surplus to the needs of the trust, a Caterpillar generator, and 2 Ford F450 or E450 15-passenger shuttle buses, asking the chairman to execute a release of the said equipment and authorize the director to dispose of said equipment. Those are all the items under Will Rogers. Request your approval, please.
Thank you, Mr. Director. You've heard the items under Will Rogers. We have a motion to approve. A second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes, and they are approved. Next up, Wally Post.
Item A is to receive the recommendation regarding the bids opened on September 25th for the mechanical and plumbing systems replacement project, awarding the contract to Hunter Mechanical and Controls Incorporated for $2,356,610, approving contract and bonds. Item B is adopting the resolution authorizing Type A engineering services for the demolition of the former Gulfstream facility at Wiley Post using the Trust Facilities Maintenance On-Call contract with Frankfurt Short Bruza Associates. It's in an estimated amount of $47,016.57. And item C is approve the intergovernmental agreement between the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission and the Airport Trust for the commissioning of a flight inspection for the precision approach path indicators for runway 35 right at Wiley Post. Those are all the items under Wiley Post.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the items under Wiley Post. We have a motion to approve. A second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes, and they are approved. Next, General.
Item A is to receive the delinquent accounts receivable report, construction project status report, and the budget to actual report as of September 30th. Item B is approving amendment number 1 to our annual maintenance contracts for the annual roofing and maintenance repairs contract with both Alva Roofing Company and Oklahoma Roofing and Sheet Metal, LLC. We're renewing those contracts for 365 days or a amount not to exceed $300,000. And item C is adopt the resolution adopting a firearms policy for all 3 airports. Those are the items under general.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the items under general. We have a motion to approve. A second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes, and they are approved. Lease and other agreements.
Item A is to approve a uniform water lease with the City of Bethany for the public water supply well number 23. This is retroactive to July 1. It's for annual water right ground rent and also establishes a rate of 70 cents per 1,000 gallons extracted at Wiley Post Airport. Item B is approve the lease and operations agreement with Starman Brothers Auctions to lease Hangar 4 and associated premises at Clarence E. Page Airport. This is retroactive to September 1st. Item C is approve the supplemental agreement with the Transportation Security Administration. They lease certain space in the terminal building. We're exercising one 5-year successive renewal option as provided under the original lease. Item D is approve amendment number 1 with the agreement the trust has with Phillips 66 Company for fuel supplies that supports the airport's fuel storage facility at Will Rogers. Item E is approving supplement number 2 to the lease and operations agreement with Setzer Properties, OKC LLC. We're just revising Exhibit B in the agreement at Will Rogers. Item F is approving the reimbursable agreement with the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust for the fire suppression system improvements Aquit will make at Will Rogers World Airport. And item G, last, is approve the assignment and assumption agreement, assigning a lease agreement with Don Parker for a lease lot at Clarence E. Page Airport to D&J Land LLC. Those are all the items under leases and other agreements.
You've heard the items under leases and other agreements. We have a motion to approve. In a second, any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes, and they are approved.
And request approval for item 8, which is the resolutions.
Request for item 8.
Requisition, sorry.
We have a motion to approve. In a second, any comments or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes, and they are approved. We're ready for comments from trustees. Any of the trustees have any comments they'd like to make? Seeing none, let's move on to staff. Any of the staff would like to make any comments? Again, seeing none, let's move on to citizens. Any citizens who wish to be heard at this time? And again, seeing none, that concludes our agenda. This meeting is now adjourned.